All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Kelvis Podcast. We have the most beautiful Miss Brooke Barbara in the studio with us. I'm honored to have you here with us. It
Thank
took
you
us a
for
little
having
while to get you
me.
here. So I want you to tell the audience, my podcast audience, about yourself.
All right. Again, my name is Brooke Barbara. I'm from here in Fayetteville. I was born and raised. I did live in Arizona for a little while, but when my dad was in the military, but we got stationed back here again, and I've been here since third grade, basically.
So did your father retire here at Fort Bragg, now known as Fort Liberty?
He did
Okay.
way back. 97, he retired.
Wow. See, I retired in 2016. I did 23 years in service.
He did 20.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So my wonderful staff did some research because I didn't know this, and I just recently heard you talking, and when we kind of conversating out there, your son, you had a son just recently married.
Yeah, he got married in February.
Okay.
He's 21, and he got married to his high school sweetheart.
Really?
They've been together since they were like 15 years old.
Wow.
They got married.
So how's that experience been? Is that the only child or?
My only baby.
See, I'm the only child. So I'm gonna tell you right now, we got a lot in common, but we're gonna get to that. So how's it having being a single mom, raising a son to be where he is now? How's that experience been? Did you have a nucleus family, or you raised him by himself? Was you just a single parent, or did you and the father raise him together?
So I had him when I was 17. I was in 12th grade.
Okay.
So of course I was still living with my parents. When I had him, his dad is a little different.
Okay.
That's the best way I could put it. He's a good dad. I guess as present as he can be, just giving his situation. He is in jail. He's been in jail since Jordan is in kindergarten.
Wow.
So, but they have, I guess, as good as relationship as you can think
That's
of.
possible,
They communicate all the time. They have a text app or whatever that they do.
Okay.
But he was basically raised by me, my mom, and my dad. We lived with my parents until, God, how old was he? Going into high school, last year, middle school,
Okay.
something like that. So we stayed with my parents for a long time,
Right.
Which is a good support. Like I be telling anybody, if you can stay with them as
Right.
long as you can,
Yes.
do it. But we stayed with them until I graduated school. So yeah.
You went to school here in Fayetteville?
I went to graduated high school at 71st, but
Okay.
I'm a nurse, so I went to Sand Hills.
Okay.
And
Okay.
once I graduated school from there, that's when we moved out, when I was able to sustain us.
Sustain. Right.
But yeah. But no, being a single mom is been different. It's nothing I ever planned.
Right.
I grew up in a house with a mother and a father. My parents were married for 42 years. So, I never thought I would be a single mom. But God has a plan. It kind of caught us all off guard. I mean, he's trying to how does it catch you off guard? But you never think you're gonna get pregnant
Right.
when you're a child.
That's
When
true.
you're a teenager,
Right.
you always just thinking you're just having fun or
Right.
whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, I got pregnant when I was 17. I had him, and then I graduated high school. And I always wanted to go off to school. So my parents came to the conclusion, they were like, we still want you to have that experience.
Right.
So I went off to Winston-Salem State.
Okay.
And they kept him while I was there. That was like, my mom, that was her thing. She was like, I want you to have this experience. I want you to know
That's
what
good.
it is to be still, young
Right.
and live a life.
Right.
So, and I'm happy she did because I don't regret anything. And I don't feel like I missed out on anything either.
Right. Well, you know what? I said to you a few minutes ago, we got a lot in common. I was raised by my grandmother, my great grandmother, and that whole experience, similar to what you said. My mother also was a pastor, elder. She's 30 years, so we both was pastor kids.
Yeah,
What they call them, PKs.
PKs.
Yeah. So when I was, we was going over your background and stuff a little bit, and I said, man, we got this interview is gonna be good because we both got similar backgrounds. You know what I'm saying? Parents both in the ministry for many years and stuff like that. So so you went to college.
Yeah.
That experience was. So did you have fun? Did you have a great time?
We gonna say I had too much fun.
No,
so
you
I
didn't.
only I only stayed at Winston for 2 years
Okay.
because again I had too much fun. Like I'll never forget one of my teachers. He saw me out in the yard and he was like, "You gonna come to class?"
You were getting
I was like, "I'll be
you were getting it
there.
in,
I'll
huh?
be there,
Yeah.
yeah. But actually, I mean, I did need to come home, but my mom ended up getting into a bad car accident. So I came home that night of the car accident, and I never went back. I went back to move out, but I never, went back to Winston because it was a lot, her being in the hospital, her raising Jordan. So, yeah, I came back.
Okay. So that whole experience of once you came back home with your parents and, kind of took more a role because you was away at college coming back and forth. How was that experience? Raising a son with your father, I'm sure he was a major influence in his life.
Yeah.
So how was that experience?
Their relationship has always been like, that is, Jordan and my dad were like this, always been. I mean, from a baby, from when he was born, they've been like best of friends. So that's always been a good relationship. For me, coming back here was more like I can kind of, thinking back now, probably like a wilderness type time for me because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I still wanted to go to school for what I was going for. I didn't know if I wanted to change into something else. Right. I did not want to be back in Fayetteville. Like, did not want to be back in Fayetteville.
Wow, what was so bad about Fayetteville?
There was nothing here. Like, all my friends were gone. Like, I literally came back to just being at my mom and dad's house. Right. I found me a job. But it was just not, it's like I just felt like I didn't have nothing here that I wanted to be back here for at that time. Because you don't want to be around your parents at 20. Like
you want to be off a little bit to yourself, be on your own a little bit.
I mean, I was happy to be back because I was back with being with my son every day. Right. Because when I left to school, he was 9 months old. When I came back, I believe he was like 3.
Okay.
So it was good being with him every day, and just having that bonding time again. But other than that, I was like, like I went to church. By that time, reversed a little bit. When I got pregnant is about a month or 2 after, or before I had him. That's when my parents started the church. So the same age of the church is the same age as my son is. So they started it in the house in like June, the summer, and I had him in October. So I forgot where I was going with it.
Well, your father and them started the church it's the same age as your son. So when you came back here,
so came back here. Like I said, when I left, the church was already established.
Right.
I honestly I felt embarrassed being there. My parents are just starting this church. I'm sitting here with a baby. Right. Like, who wants to come to this church with when the child or the daughter here is like this? So, but when I came back, it was a different experience. We had more members by that time. Mm-hmm. Jordan was a little older. I felt more comfortable there. Again, but my son and my dad, he'll tell you to this day that is his favorite person.
Of course. Yeah.
That's his favorite person, and then it's me.
Okay.
But I feel the same way. Like, my dad was like the man. He loved me. He always showed me. He always showed me his love. He always made me feel special. He was just a good dad,
Right.
Just a good dad, a present dad, a constant dad, a loving dad, right. Even though he's super quiet.
Really?
Like, yeah. He was quiet.
So your mom was so let me ask you this. I'm taking my glasses off of there because we have to get in. So your mom, when you found out you was pregnant, who did you tell first? You went to your dad or your mom? So let's get into it.
I didn't tell neither one of them.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, they found out when I was pregnant when I was almost 6 months pregnant. So I hid this.
So you hid it all that long as you could.
As long as I could. So the situation was, it was my brother's. He was graduating from high school that weekend, so all my family was up in town.
Okay.
And they haven't seen me in a while, so when they saw me, and my aunt saw me, she was like, "Something ain't right."
Yeah.
Something ain't right.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was there. My mom's dad was there, and she was talking to him about it, and they kind of talked to my parents. I went over to one of my really good friends' house down the street.
Okay.
And I kind of could tell something was gonna come out.
Right.
So I
went
had that
down feeling.
There. Yeah. I went down there, and she already had a son, like 2 years before that. So I knew her mom would understand. So I talked to her, and I told her, I was like, "Can you please tell them?"
Right.
So she's the one that actually told them.
Advocated on your behalf.
Yeah. And my dad just literally walked out of the house and walked the neighborhood for a couple hours.
Wow.
Just walked the neighborhood.
Had to get his mind right.
He had to get his mind right.
Amen.
My mom worked at a OBGYN office at the time.
Oh, wow.
So the next day, she just took me to there and made sure everything was okay. Like, there was fire hot mad, but they were just, they didn't make me feel, how can I say it? I was ashamed within myself, but they didn't make me feel bad.
Right.
Even though I knew how they stood on it and what their emotions was, they didn't make me. They did all that they needed to do to make sure that I was okay.
Right. That's real parenting. That's outstanding because you
you
already had enough on
you.
You know what I'm saying, and to make you feel worse was not going to be the solution to the problem, and I can understand that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a lot. It was not how I thought my life would be. I tell you that.
Yeah.
But it was God's timing, and now that I'm older, I'm not gonna say I'm happy that it happened then because it was a lot to deal with. But I am happy that it happened then,
right?
Because like me and my son are like this. We're super close. He's the one that can kind of challenge me,
right?
He's the one
he
that
kind of push you,
yeah.
Well, I compliment you because I was raised a single mom. Again, my great grandmother raised me pretty much for my life because my mom worked 2 jobs. But coming from that similar background, I commend my mother, any woman that raises, the children without really allowing the father being there. And just it takes a community because my grandma, my great grandma, my aunts all had a part in me growing up, my uncles. And so I commend you of doing an outstanding job. Sound like your son is very successful. He's grew up to be a fine young man. And so I compliment you truly from my heart because I can relate to a certain degree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Even like with his dad, I'll tell anybody I really believe that it was the grace and the mercy of God that his dad is even in jail just to even protect us. He's changed a lot now, but younger, it was safety for us being with him being there. And even for Jordan, so the influence could be more of my dad leading him and not his dad leading him.
Right.
I'm thankful that his dad loves him, but I'm happy he didn't have as much influence of who he is now.
Right. Yeah. Well, you had a great father, sound like. Had a tremendous impact in your life. So how now has your father's legacy impacted you?
I tell anybody, like, even at his funeral when we were giving remarks, like, I love the Lord like I do because of my dad.
Right.
And my mom. And I'm not going to take anything away from my mom, but talking about my dad is, because, he didn't grow up saved. He didn't grow up in church.
I don't think a lot of us grew up saved in the church.
And so he grew up he was born in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
They actually moved to South Carolina during the race riots that were going on because his daddy was a little wild.
Okay.
So when all that was happening, my grandma was like, we need to move. We need to get out of the city.
Yeah.
But they didn't grow up in church. I don't even know if he really even knew the Lord. His dad was like a Catholic, but they didn't really
practice that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when he met the Lord, it's like he didn't have none of that background, none of that tradition sometimes that can kind of
influence it. Right.
Like when he met him, he just met him for real.
Yeah, he changed his life. He can honestly say God brought him from a certain point to the point where he found Christ and continue on in the ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was it's a nice story. It's a beautiful story. Like now my mom, she grew up in church. She was raised by her grandparents in South Carolina and went to church all the time. Her grandfather played the piano in church. So it's good to have that mix of tradition and that one that's just fresh and
Yeah.
It was a good mixture.
Yeah. So now I understand that you took the position of your father in the church. Is that not correct?
No, my mom is the pastor.
Okay, your mom is pastor.
Yeah.
And do you still play a role in the ministry?
Oh,
of
yeah.
Your father's?
I'm a minister at the church.
Okay.
I try to help out and fill in roles as needed, but yeah, I'm a minister there. Work with the youth, sing on the praise team, whatever is needed.
So what are some of the challenges for other young ladies that watch my podcast that may be in the ministry and fresh in the ministry? What are some of the challenges that you have faced, and how have you overcome some of those challenges?
In regards to like church wise or
Church, I
life
mean,
wise?
being, a single mom,
Mm-hmm.
and then being raised, by your father who started a church,
Yeah.
and your mom as well, both of them being in ministry, and just, now that you assist your mother, how has, what is the impact? What impacted you, and how have that led you to where you are now? And for other people, to young ladies that maybe want to get into ministry, how could you encourage them?
Um, I would say starting off with the church being like brand new, them being the founding pastors, and just being there and watching them and see how something is built from the ground up.
Right.
How it takes work.
Right.
It takes commitment. It takes passion. It
Right.
takes studying the word. Like just seeing how when you start something, the work that is put into it has really shaped how I even move now. Because when we started, it was just me, my mom, my dad, and then my son.
Okay.
And then it was Elder Pam. She was the first member.
Okay.
So when you think of that, it's just you're doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
whatever you need, from cleaning.
Right. You're the secretary.
Yes.
You everything.
You're doing everything, but it gives you an outlook on it, like, nothing's too big, nothing's too hard
Right.
with God on your side.
Right.
If you keep going and you
Right.
keep pressing, other people will come on, other people will help, but it just gives you a different outlook. Now, personal wise, I never felt overwhelmed by it. Like I never felt like they were putting too much on me.
Okay.
I never felt like what, God, why I gotta do this, or I just because they're not that type of people.
Mm-hmm.
One, they're always been super helpful. Whatever you need, they're there for you.
Right.
Now being a minister out in this world,
Mm-hmm. Let's talk
or
about
just
it.
being a minister that's single or a
Oh,
single
yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
Now that's a different.
Well, let's talk
thing.
about it. Well, let's talk about it. Let me lean back. Let me lean my glasses down. Let's talk about it.
That's
What's
a
the
different
tea?
thing.
What's the tea on that?
Well, I've been saved for a long time.
Yeah.
Probably about, how old am I now? I'm 39. So I'll say good since about 25.
Okay.
Since about 25, and being saved and being saved for real.
Mm-hmm. For real.
For real.
Right.
It's different.
It's different.
It's different.
Okay.
Especially when you're dating. Like I've met really good men,
Mm-hmm.
and I've dated really good men, but
Okay.
I haven't been with somebody who really is committed to the Lord in like a full circle thing. Like, yes, they go to church, good. But what you doing behind the scenes? Like, do you really love the Lord? If I give you standards that are in the Bible, not Brooke standards, but like
Right.
biblically based standards
Okay.
that I'm telling you that I'm living by, and you looking at me like for real? Like you really gonna, like, you're not just saying this to say it, but you really gonna live it?
by it. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I can imagine that could be a challenge in today's time.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge, and I want a good man, but I want a saved man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
It's a difference.
it's a difference.
Yeah.
Because of the call that I know I have in my life.
Right.
It's some people, a good man, just a good man is fine, but it's not what I know that I need for what the call is on my life.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like I need that covering. I
Right.
need that strong foundation. I need that
Yeah.
priest in the house. I need all that
Right.
for who I am in the Lord.
Right.
So
Now,
yeah.
let me ask you this question. Do you feel like, being a daddy's girl and seeing how your father and your mother marriage was, do you feel like that's what you were convert back to when you look for a man? Let's talk about it.
It's had a big impact on my life. And I'll give you an example. I'll never forget, when I was 16, my first job was working at Sunglass Hut in the mall.
Okay.
And this man came in there and he was trying to talk or whatever. This
Yeah.
older man, I was like, number one, that's nasty. That's always been my thought, like, ew. Like, you old enough to be my daddy. But he was like, I could put some tires on your car. And I looked at him and I was like, I got a daddy. Okay, I have a daddy.
Right.
I don't need you for. And I've always, I've always been like that. Like I got a daddy.
Right.
Like,
And he's showing you what a real man look like. In that
he's
perspective.
a husband to one wife. You
Right.
know, like I had that example,
Mhm.
and anything less just don't
Just don't add up for you.
just don't add up for me, because I know it can be.
Right.
You know, when you know and you've seen it, it's like, thank you, but no.
No.
He used to laugh at me. He used to pick at me. He's like, you got 3 weeks. He was like, Brooke, you give people 3 weeks. He said, I know after 3 weeks and I don't hear their name much anymore.
Right.
They gone.
Well, so you shorter than Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey said 90 days. You on the 3 weeks. Lord, audience, she's on the 3 weeks, y'all. 3 weeks.
People show you
15 days.
People show you who they are quick. If you really listen, if you really observe who they are, if you really have real conversations, if you don't bring sex into it and you really just talk to people, they'll show you who they are like quick. You don't have to guess.
Right.
Just watch them.
You got a point there.
So, I mean, I just think you waste a lot of time. No, don't get me wrong. I could have probably cut off a couple of them too soon.
Yeah, you might have to go 30 days and 15 days. You might make a policy change.
I might, like, the older I've gotten, this sounds so bad. When I was young.
No, say it on the Kelvis podcast.
When I was young, you know, I thought it was real cute. Had a lot of options out there. So it was like,
okay,
you ain't make the cut. You ain't make the cut.
Right.
You know. Now, the older I've gotten, I'm still cute. Don't get it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But.
You tough now.
But it's a lot more grace in it. It's a lot more, you know.
Humanity in it.
Yeah, and what I look for has changed a lot. I'm not as picky in certain aspects of who a person is. So.
Okay. So you have a age bracket that you because I keyed in on that old man when he said he could put them ties on there. Old sugar daddy came in there with an open shirt with a 4 or 5 gold chain on.
With that matching linen suit. I'm 39, so I 36 to like 40, and don't take this no way, older men or men even my age, but they get old. When they hit 40, it's just like,
wait a minute, put my guard back on. What you mean? Wait a minute now, what you mean by that?
They're not fun. It's like they're not fun no more. They don't want to do nothing.
Y'all hear
they
that,
don't want to go nowhere. They just get old. I'm young at heart, young spirit. I love to do stuff. I love to have fun. I love to try new things.
Right.
But older men get old and boring.
I'm about to
spice it up, y'all. Spice it
I'm
up.
about to look up to the heaven which my help come from.
Call on them.
Jesus. There's an older man. I can tell you that ain't true.
Okay.
Amen.
I hope it's not.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let you know that right now on the Kelvis podcast. Let me
that serious face he got?
Let me fix that collar for you. Let you know what's going on over here. Oh my God.
That's what I found. Like, I'm like, God, what do you like to do? I just be sitting in the house. Like, it's nothing fun that they.
Yeah.
Or they don't like outdoors. How you don't like outdoors?
Right.
You don't want to walk nowhere?
Yeah, go to the park, walk, get your exercise in, just stroll a little bit, have conversation, maybe have a picnic in the park. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like to get hot.
Don't get hot.
I don't want to sweat. Then y'all, I'm not being judgmental because I done put on 25 pounds in the last 3 years. Then, they get a little bigger and then they don't want to move as much. And it's a lot that happens when the older you get,
Let me get me a little drink of this cranberry. Because it's getting hot over here. We're about to dig into this a little more.
It's just, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm young in spirit. I'm very mature in a lot of ways, but I'm young spirited. And I like to do and go and just have fun,
So, what do you find in the young man? Because the young man environment got a lot of energy.
Yeah, but they still ready to go.
Let me tell you something about a young man now. Young man got a lot of energy.
36 now. Nothing younger. Only 30,
I thought you
36
were going,
and above.
Oh, 36. Okay, I must miss that 36. I thought you were talking about 26.
No,
I about to say
no. I don't want nobody near my son's age. That
ain't gonna work for
36.
36
is my it's a soft cutoff.
Soft,
I never put a hard line anywhere, but a soft cutoff is 36.
You like them tall?
I actually like short men. I'm short. I'm 5 even. I've dated tall men, and I be in there like this.
Now your neck hurt like this.
Yeah, 5'7".
I think I know some people in the building today can relate to that. I ain't gonna call no names on the Kelvis podcast, but I actually can see them from where I'm sitting at. But anyway, amen. Though we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep it moving.
Not too tall. Not too tall.
Not too tall.
Give me a good 5'7", 5'9".
Oh yeah, I don't.
Between there, I'm good.
Right there, I'm a little taught them that. Just
People
lean
be
back.
hating on short men, but short men be having this confidence that a lot of
We call that
taller
short.
men don't
We
be
call,
having.
we call that short man syndrome.
Call it what you want. I like it.
You are nasty. So speaking of that, we shifted over here and talking about a little bit of dating. So what is your definition of unconditional love?
Unconditional love. That's a good question. It makes me think of like love is patient, love is strong, kind, love is long suffering. All those love is.
Yeah, all those adjectives. Okay.
Yeah.
So have you ever found unconditional love in some aspects?
I have.
Really? And what happened? What happened to the unconditional love that you? And I'm assuming you found this in one of your 15-day period of times.
Okay. We actually dated a year and a half.
Year and a half. What happened? If you don't mind me asking.
He moved. So he lived in a different state when we met. We had a mutual friend online, and he saw me on her page and sent me a message. And then we just went from there. He came down from where he was living and took me out, and we were just like inseparable from there.
Right.
Really good relationship. He's a great communicator. He really treated me well. He treated my son well. He loved us both.
Right.
But in that relationship, now looking back on it, I know why it ended. One, I believe it was a God thing. I was putting him more ahead of, I was putting him in front of God. I was making a relationship an idol. Like I wanted to be in a relationship for so long and so bad that I was, it wasn't in a healthy place in my life. And it ended abruptly, like just a phone conversation. Everything was going good. We're laughing, talking, then we started getting on a different subject, and it just ended. And we never got back together after that. I mean, we've been friends, talk every once in a while. And at that point, when we were having that conversation, he didn't move. He moved probably about 10 hours away at that point. Right. So it was already a little strain there anyway. Right. But the plan was for me to move up there with him. Okay. Once Jordan was in high school at this time. So we were going to move up there. I was going to get married first because I'm not moving nowhere without a permanent situation, okay? We ain't dating when I'm moving. But yeah, it just ended. But I loved him. I did.
So in this dating, let's continue on that. Do you go on like a Christian dating, or do you just meet people from church or social events, or how did that process work for you?
I don't know what it is, but I don't know if I'm just not easily approachable or if I be looking some kind of way. I don't know what it is. I don't get a lot of people approaching me. And if it is, they're either, I call them Thundercats or cat daddies. That means they're real old or real young. Like, it's not people my age. I'm like, where's...
Look like you got some praisers in the church this afternoon. Seems like we got one of misters in the church. Amen?
So I don't, like, even my son the other day, he asked me, he said, Mom, what you doing?
Right.
Like, how are you going to meet anybody? He was like, I go to work. I do go out to, like, the stores and stuff like that, but it's probably nowhere where a man's going to be. It's home goods and stuff, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not a good dater. Like, when it comes to meeting people, I just don't really meet people. I would love to date. I would love to meet somebody, but the last guy I dated was like somebody's son at church. I mean, he was like an older. He wasn't like a kid.
I got what you said.
His mother went to our church.
Right. I got you. So I heard something that's keyed in what you said. Your son asked you what you're doing. So how has your son, impact your relationships? Like, you're not dating anybody. I'm saying, I asked my mom. My mom, her whole focus is me and my son, right? You know what I'm saying? We are her world. And I said, Mom, how you going to meet somebody? But I'm very protective of my mother. So, I do background checks. I got a lot of guns. So that probably scared a lot of people off. But my mama's 72. But, she don't go anywhere to really meet anybody. And I try to put her in social clubs and stuff like that. Yeah. But so, from a son's standpoint, I can understand where your son is coming from. So how is that?
I've always been real open about it. Like he's wanted me to marry because he always wanted brothers and sisters.
Right.
And I told him I did it as once. I won't do it again. I
Right.
won't bring any other children to this world without having a mother and a father, a husband and wife that are established. But he's always been like, okay, did you go anywhere?
Right.
Have you met anybody? And at one time he asked me at work, I was like, look, everybody at work is married. Okay.
Wow.
But I don't know. Even when I'm out, I don't know what it is. I mean, even in high school, I didn't really date much. Nothing. College, I had a boyfriend. That was really about it. And I met him randomly through another friend. It's always like
through a friend, through a mutual friend or something, huh?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of energy or vibes or what I'm giving off.
Right.
But it's not. You can just walk up to me and talk to me vibes, obviously, because they don't.
So you making me see, the Lord gave me this. I need to start a Kelvis podcast mentorship. All you single ladies, I need to give y'all some pointers like Steve Harvey.
Give me some pointers.
So I got a new book coming out. You gotta get my new book because in that new book is gonna be some pointers.
Okay.
What's
the name of it?
The truth behind the podcast, truth, the stories behind from the stories from the studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's coming out
but
soon.
I'm open. I'm open for pointers. I'm open because I'm like, I must be doing something.
Yeah, but that book ain't gonna give you as much detail as the one I'm working on outside of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have a class. I'm gonna have my assistant instructor, but I'm the main instructor, and I'm gonna have she's
You gonna have a class?
I'm gonna have a class. I ain't gonna charge about $50 y'all to come to my class. And I guarantee you, when you walk out, you're gonna have some great pointers how to meet a man. $50. This here, I think that's a good thing right there. We're gonna keep you informed though, bet.
Let me know. Let me know. I mean, like I've had people DM me or something like that, but it's like, come on now.
Yeah. So we done talked about your dating life, but what I really want to talk about now is, again, going back as a pastor and as a woman, what are some of the things that you feel is important for the church to be in the community? You know, you seen your father, obviously, you know, he was in the community, your mother was in the community as a church leader, as a foundation of church. In today's society, what do you feel the church role is in the community?
Our church started off in Highwood Heights in the community center that they have there. So it's always been real big in the community. From Vacation Bible School, we would go out, make sure all the kids knew that we were gonna have it. They would come to feeding the community, any and everything we can do. We moved to Bragg Boulevard now, so now they've established a food bank. We haven't done it in the last year, but we do giveaways. Okay. Where we collect items and we just give them away. I mean, from comforters to clothes to shoes. 1 year, Fleet Feet downtown gave us, probably like 50 shoes to give away, sneakers to give away to the community. So we like to have a voice in the community. We like to let them know that we're there. That is an important mission for us. Is to let the community know that we are here for them. Right. We've had but our church is in the Bonnie Doon area. Okay. So if you know Fayetteville, you know that's a very impoverished area. Right. And we would go around and pass out flyers, and a couple of them came to the church, and one of them came, and a little while later, their child passed away. So we had the funeral at the church. We did the repast. We did everything that we could for them because they didn't have it, and they didn't have anybody who could. Right. So I mean, it's important that they know who we are in the community and that we're there for them.
So in closing, give the ladies and gentlemen that watch my podcast some words of encouragement, because you know life beats us all down. And from your perspective, leave us with some words of wisdom as we close out this podcast.
My life has been, I can honestly say, a good life for even to this day. But 2 years ago, when my dad got diagnosed with cancer, it kind of just turned our life upside down. And I was thinking on the way here, a year before that, he preached a message. I'm gonna try not to cry, but it talked about what do you do when bad things happen to good people. And I consider him a good man. And when he got diagnosed, I knew that the Lord was going to deliver him from it. And when it didn't happen the way I wanted it to,
Mm-hmm.
it really shook my faith. Not faith in the Lord, but faith in that miracles could happen.
Right.
With that being said, I see the fruit and the beauty, because in Ecclesiastes it talks about there's beauty in every season. And this season has been a difficult season, but it's been a beautiful season.
Right.
It has brought our family together. It has strengthened who we are in the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
It's caused me to dig deep
Right.
in Him, in places, in areas I never thought that I would have to go into spiritually.
Right.
It showed me a different level of love and comfort and joy, because I've had more joyous days than bad days. I've seen the goodness of God.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that even in tragedy, that people that love you can show you how much they love you, and you can accept it.
Right.
Life can be hard, but the Lord is present. And that's what this time in my life has shown me, is that even in hard times, even in loss, even in, I didn't think this was going to happen, times that the Lord is present. And not only is He present, but if you have questions and you talk to Him, He will answer them. And even if He doesn't answer them right away, He will give you peace until the answer comes. And if you wait on the Lord, and if you trust in Him for real, and if you love Him for real,
Mm-hmm.
and you honor who He is in your life,
Yes.
He will keep you. He will love you. He will show you His goodness. So the main thing is just wait on Him, honor who He is, trust in who He is, and know that He is faithful in all of His ways. And He is righteous and just. And that's been my life these last 2 years, is seeing somebody go through basically passing,
Mm-hmm. Right.
But he's been there. And even just seeing my dad still remain faithful to his call as a pastor.
Right.
Still preach whenever he could preach. Still, when he didn't have any strength in his body, when the music would come on, he would stand, even if he would just clap.
Right.
3 or 4 times, and that's all the energy he had. He'll sit down, then he'll get up and clap again. And like, just to see that even in tragedy, even when you're going through, you can still find joy in it. And he found joy, and he stayed strong until the end. And that's the thing, just to keep running, keep going.
Keep running the race.
Keep running the race. Don't give up. And
Amen. So very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for that story.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly felt it. And I
Amen.
thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me share.
Hey, that's what the Kelvis podcast is about.
It's been good.
And I thank you for coming on here, sharing your story. I have had a lot of fun.
Yes.
I enjoyed talking to you. And we definitely going to have you back. And we're going to have to find out about this dating life.
Look, I told you I would accept any help that I can get, because I promise you I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
But thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And with that, y'all, like, follow, and share Kelvis podcast.
Amen.
Catch you next time.